Speedway Report is produced and broadcast by the Zeus Radio Network for Racers Reunion Radio. Well, Lucas Oil late model and Portsmouth, Ohio officials did not treat fans or race teams right. I got to say, it is hard to promote pavement modified racing when you cannot find information. And since I got my stick swinging on the dead horse, that is NASCAR playoffs, I will beat it a little further tonight. Well, we got all this and more. Welcome to Speedway Report, Monday, October the 22nd, 2018. From the shores of Lake Norman, we are in Race City, USA, Mooresville, North Carolina. I'm Patrick Reynolds, and thank you all for joining the fastest half hour in racing. Let's dig down to the Speedway Report Victory Lane Lap. So many tracks and series are wrapping up. Champions decided, but still plenty of big autumn races to talk about. Let's get to it. Kansas City, the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series went 400 miles yesterday afternoon. Chase Elliott was your winner, his third one this season and second of the last three. I think all three have come in the last 7 races. Guys getting hot at the right time. The Xfinity cars went 300 miles in Kansas on Saturday. John Hunter Nemechek took his first career series win, piloting that Ganassi car that Ross Chastain has put in victory lane a couple times already this year. Formula One ran on American soil in Austin, Texas. I did not have to get up at 6 a.m. to watch the race. It was on a bright sunny Sunday afternoon. Kimi Räikkönen parked his Ferrari atop the podium. He ends a 112-race winless drought. I always call those droughts as opposed to a streak. Sometimes people call them winless streaks. I think it's a drought as opposed to a streak. We talked about Lucas Oil late models. I want to get to these guys in a little bit. The Dirt Track World Championship, still a historic time-honored race. Began way back in Pennsboro, West Virginia in 1981. Paid $30,000 to win. Trivia question there, that paid as much at the time as the Southern 500 paid to win in NASCAR in 1981. This year in Portsmouth, Ohio, it was rained out on Saturday night, air quotes rained out. Run Sunday afternoon, Josh Richards was your winner, and still a nice $100,000 for the 100-lap main event. World of Outlaws Sprint Cars went Friday night in Kansas City, where Darren Pittman won the A-Main. Saturday night in Dodge City, Donnie Schatz was your winner. If you're going to pick two, Pittman and Schatz, the likely odds winners in Vegas. The ARCA Series wrapped up their season on Friday in Kansas. Sheldon Creed did it right, took the win, took the championship. That car was pretty beat up too. Man, it looked like a short track car. Worked just fine on the mile-and-a-half downforest track. USAC Midgets ran the Jason Leffler Memorial last night in Wayne City, Illinois. Tyler Thomas scored the win, a big win there, remembering Leffler. Southern Modified Racing Series was at the Orange County Speedway. In Rougemont, North Carolina, Burt Myers was your winner of the Pavement Modified Showdown. Big race in Hickory, North Carolina, just up the road from our studios here, the Fall Brawl for the NASCAR late model stock cars, 200 laps. Josh Berry qualified with quick time, took the bonus money, started shotgun on the field for the extra $1,000 if he could win from last. He did it. Cashes the check as well as the winner's share as well. Got himself an extra $1,000. Big weekend up New York State for the dirt cars. Eastern States weekend at the Orange County Fair Speedway in Middletown, New York. Kicked off Thursday night with the Short Track Super Series. Mike Goulart was the winner there on Thursday night. Went into qualifying in heat race mode, support races on Friday night. Saturday's big small block modified 100-lapper was won by Brett Hearn after Stuart Friesen was found light at the scales in a borrowed car. Stewie did a great job in this race, not his regular ride. Crosses under the checkered flag first with Hearn right on his tail in the regular ride. Friesen pulls to the infield. You go over the scales, then you go to victory lane. He goes over the scales, did not pop out of the infield in that crush of cars and trailers. Hearn goes over the scales. He pops out of the infield and into victory lane, surprising everybody as Friesen was light. Not by much, but they give you a tolerance, and eventually there's a go and no-go time. Friesen light in the small block 100. Brett Hearn was your winner for $15,000 with the small block modified feature. That qualified him for a big bonus on Sunday for the Big Block Modified 200. Hearn starts on the pole, gets caught with a flat tire, battles back from that, has fuel pressure problems, finishes back in the teens. Friesen, who had so much trouble Saturday in the small block race, he wins the Big Block 200 on Sunday. So each guy missing out on that big cash money bonus. Friesen's win on Sunday in the 200, it was worth over 40 grand anyway, and Hearn took 15 grand on Saturday. So each guy took a pretty healthy paycheck on Saturday and Sunday, but both missing out on the, I think it's a 10,000 or it's a 15 grand sweep if you can take both. You wind up with over 60 grand for each day. Pretty good for short track dirt modified racing. Now, let's talk about short track racing in particular with the Dirt Track World Championship. This is one of my pet peeves. It always has been when it came to short track racing or just any type of racing, is jerking around with the show. The folks, a lot of fan outrage and anger at the Dirt Track World Championship, scheduled Thursday, Friday, and Saturday in Portsmouth, Ohio. And forecast on Saturday is for rain coming in. We all know these things. In today's day and age, smart folks push the show along. And I heard more screaming and yelling from fans that said that everybody, now I don't know if it was the Lucas Oil late model officials or the folks at Portsmouth, just jerked around too long. We had front stretch ceremonies. We had awards presentations. We had let's rip up the track for track maintenance type of stuff. And we lost a lot of time. I admit I wasn't there. I was here in Charlotte, but I know what these folks talk about because it's been a pet peeve of mine when I've seen so many shows, which doesn't happen too much in the major leagues, but on the minor league level, yeah, I've seen so many folks and things just drag the show out. It looks real obvious that you're just trying to sell more hot dogs and hamburgers, but you're pissing fans off that they won't come back for it. I've just never understood. Sometimes I watch these things start so late in the day. I think it's all just a shift on the concession stands menu, I know, to sell more hamburgers. But just stuff, I remember stuff just on Sunday afternoon or whatever, it would get out at a decent hour and you could be home, and I see things just rolling later and later. Now, this race, the Dirt Track World Championship, took place Saturday night, but I don't get it. With rain coming in, you knew, the track knew, officials knew that rain was a strong possibility, and you could have at least gotten to lap 50, at least to lap 50 in the time that was down. Would it be worth tearing the track up for track maintenance for a better show? I don't know. Sometimes you can run these things if the track is prepped properly. You can run them straight through with your B mains, your qualifying right through the feature. When it comes to the award ceremonies, you can move them right along. You can shove them right along. That's shouldn't be an issue. But I remember, or I saw a photo on Twitter of a lot of the drivers and crew members standing off the turn 4 pit area on the Lucas Oil Twitter feed, looking over the track and watching the crew rip the track up for track maintenance. If you got a midsummer show and you've got a clear night and you want a multi-groove surface for the feature, I get that. But when you've got an event as big as this and rain is coming in, you got to move the show along. If the groove on the track is 1 or a lane and a half wide, which I don't think that it was on a Saturday night, you're slowing it down so much. And what you're doing is the only option you have is Sunday afternoon. And goodness gracious, we all know daytime dirt racing, that produces exactly that, a freight train, single file race. Most of the events, like in Middletown, New York, we talked about this big race that Stuart Friesen won. I've seen a lot of those 200s over the years. There's a real textbook for winning that race. It's qualifying up front, pitting as early as possible for fuel getting back out, and then anybody else that's in front of you that doesn't get the fuel mileage, they're going to pit anyway, and you don't really race or pass anybody, but you use track position all day to try to get the win. That's exactly what Friesen did. He did have to pass Danny Johnson near the end of the race, but the daytime dirt racing, totally one groove. That Eastern States 200, as much as I loved it, that in Syracuse and all the afternoon 200s that used to be run back in the day for the big block mods, those Sunday afternoon shows were a lot of fun. The weekend was there, but the racing itself is not that good because it's a single file parade. You're looking at the same thing at Portsmouth. they jerked around so long, and I don't understand the logic of it. You made a lot of people mad, especially when it's cold and wet anyway. But I mean, you're just ticking people off. The start of that event was even moved up an hour because of dropping temperatures. So you were an hour ahead of schedule when you started this, and you still couldn't get it in. You were down for an hour as well for track maintenance. So potentially there's 2 hours there you could have made up ground somewhere. I don't get it. That's an annoyance to me. If I had gone up to Ohio and witnessed that, I don't know if I would spend the money to go back either. I appreciate shows that move the show along or try to get that main event when they got support classes, push that along first. I've seen tracks rearrange the schedule to try to cater to that. And I've seen tracks that look like they literally deliberately drag their feet on stuff. Old Riverside Park Speedway in Agawam, Massachusetts. I've seen Ben Dodge run that, and he really shoved a modified tour show around to make sure that the tour race ran with a threat of rain. And I've seen that before. And then I've seen shows at other tracks, I don't know, Waterford and Thompson, where you see rain coming. Dark clouds are coming. The forecast is there, and they just, let's run meaningless heat races. Let's time trial. Let's heat. Let's draw out of a hat. Let's have a pre-race drivers meeting on the front stretch again. Just stuff that we, what are you jerking around for? Fans bought tickets. Get them in. Get them out. It's not that hard of a concept. If you're going to run a racetrack, that's the way it needs to be run. Shame on the Dirt Track World Championship for making folks sit around until Sunday to finally see Josh Richards get that win. Speaking of getting a win, I had a hell of a time finding out who won the Southern Modified Racing Series event at Orange County Speedway. There was the race ran Saturday night, like the Dirt Track World Championship, but the race at Orange County for the mods ran on Saturday night. And I was looking for results of this show last night. And I was over Facebook, over Twitter, over the web pages for both the Southern Modified Racing Series as well as Orange County Speedway. Not a result to be had. I was searching Twitter for Southern Modified Racing Series. Their Twitter page hasn't been updated since 2017. Went to Facebook, Orange County as well. I finally found the winner on Eddie Harvey's Twitter page when it was a picture of Burt Myers and the crew and everybody in Victory Lane from Saturday night. But it was painful. I was even checking on my friends' pages, social media pages, to try to find some results, which I shouldn't have to. Results from these races in today's day and age should be up within a matter of moments from the race getting a checkered flag. Now, this doesn't mean you put the whole story up. I get that. You need time for photographs and quotes and write real stories, but just the results, I found it painful. I couldn't find them anywhere. I've talked about this before. Finally, at 11 o'clock on Sunday night, there is a release that came out from the Southern Modified Racing Series. And gosh, somebody posted it on social media too, but started pushing it out at 11 o'clock on Sunday night from a Saturday night race. I missed that, and it was a whole lot of work and effort to try to put in a little research for a show like this or anybody. They just wanted some results from the Orange County Speedway on Saturday night. Painful to see when you can pop open your phone and do it in this day and age. If you work for the track or the racing series, it's right there, and we're well over 24 hours later. Some stories and results finally hit the airwaves. In 2018, with social media and the internet, you should have stuff up literally within seconds of the results. It should be up on social media with a big, more detailed story to follow, but just the basic results in today's social media world and information. I found it, the winner of the race, but eventually you realize I'm not going to look forever, but I spent way too much time that if it wasn't for pavement modifieds, I probably would not have looked that hard for it. If I was trying to find results of a series I wasn't as passionate about, I don't think I would have put that much effort into it, and you could be losing a potential fan or sponsor away from that. So demerit number 2, not only to the Dirt Track World Championship, but the Southern Modified Racing Series at Orange County on Saturday night. Demerit number 3, let's roll with NASCAR playoffs. Gosh, this horse is in the glue factory on this show. I've been doing this for years. Better than 10 years, 8 years on this show, but I've been talking about it ever since. Now, the poll question should be on our Facebook feed if you're watching us live or on Facebook. If you're on another form of social media watching a podcast, I understand that. But as we do this live on the Speedway Report with Patrick Reynolds' Facebook page, I put up the poll question because the conversation keeps coming up. I am dead set against NASCAR playoffs, period. Can't stand them. Think it's ruined the sport. However, I understand that I am not the only opinion out there. There's a lot of people that do like the playoffs. That's cool. Get a show and wave the flag that you love the playoffs. On my show, I'm going to wave the flag that I hate them. But there's some articles written and discussion talked about sports versus entertainment, and that NASCAR admits, and so many people do, that it is entertainment. And when you use that word entertainment, that is where I think the comparison to WWE comes in. WWE, as we remember, used to be WWF, World Wrestling Federation. Well, the World Wildlife Foundation got into a battle of them, so we changed it to World Wrestling Entertainment, and wrestling got to be known as sports entertainment. Now we've got this playoff system, and the word entertainment constantly comes in as a definition of what we're seeing, and the criticism of how NASCAR is like wrestling. It's rigged. No, I don't think it's rigged, but it certainly has no what do you call it? Attraction. That's the word I'm looking for. No attraction for me. Can't stand these playoffs. Cup has not had a legitimate championship system since 2003 in my book. Now, I look at these playoffs, and the Kansas race for the 400 on the Cup side and the Austin Formula One race went head-to-head Sunday afternoon on ABC and NBC. I was all about the Formula One race in Austin. A big part of that is their championship deciding system. I can deal with it. Lewis Hamilton had a shot to clinch up the championship for Formula One with 3 races remaining. We have, we got Mexico, Brazil, and Abu Dhabi still to go. Mathematically had a shot to do it in Austin. He did not. But I was okay with that, with 4 races left, 3 races left, that he clinched that. No, it's not as exciting as a battle in the last race, but it's just honest and legitimate. And I cannot stand this NASCAR playoff system. It's just not legitimate to me. They keep trying to sell this. I'm not buying it. The playoffs become the forefront of the story in the television package, and I find the NASCAR Cup race and the Xfinity one, between that, the playoffs and the stages, they're unwatchable broadcasts to me. I am an empty set of eyes for the television ratings on Sunday afternoon. I am an empty seat in the grandstands as a fan. I'm also an empty seat in the media center because I have a hard time writing or fulfilling or having any passion for what I am watching. But I was far more interested in the Formula One race on Sunday afternoon. A lot of it because of the championship system. I can watch the race. I'm watching a championship be settled, and it seems legit to me. And it seems like I'm watching more WWE entertainment with NASCAR than I am actual sport. I think sport always has to take precedence over entertainment. Sports is entertainment, but you don't make entertainment your priority. You make the rules of the game and you let it play out. And I just think that the playoffs are way too manipulated and artificial. This 4-race playoff in Miami, this 4-car playoff, I've thought it's a joke for years. Don't like it, not buying it. I'm sorry. Can't do it. Formula One, I might see Lewis Hamilton sew up the championship this weekend in Mexico with 2 races left, and what I saw was legitimate sport, and I can get behind that. In Austin, Texas, Raikkonen stood atop the podium, and Max Verstappen had this great drive, 18th on the grid to 2nd. So if you're going to compare Kansas to Austin, Texas, and say that Kansas had all the passing, let me tell you, you put a downforce race against a NASCAR versus Austin, Texas in a Formula One race, Verstappen did plenty of passing, almost to the next to last row, all the way to 2nd place on the podium. Lewis Hamilton wound up 3rd. Basically, Verstappen got ahead of Hamilton's Mercedes. He had a 1-stop strategy versus Hamilton's 2 stops, and Hamilton kind of was disagreeing with Mercedes tire strategy to make 2 instead of 1 with the softer compound tires. What the math comes down to is that Hamilton has a 70-point lead over Sebastian Vettel. If he can gain 5 points and leave Mexico with a 75 or more point lead, he will mathematically clinch the world championship. That's how the math goes. I'm fine with that. I just find that I'm watching a more legitimate championship than the rounds and the eliminations and the playoffs. Year after year, this drives me bonkers, and I just cannot dive into NASCAR anymore. But anyway, this poll went up on our Facebook feed. You've got me on my soapbox. I'm talking about it. I want to hear your thoughts on it. A lot of folks are newer fans to NASCAR, and the playoff system is all they know. They weren't fans of the sport before the chase was invented in 2004. They came on board afterwards. That's all they know. Whatever. If you're an old school guy and dig the playoffs, tell me why. I'd like to hear about it. If you're a newer fan, if you're old school like me and can't stand them, tell me why. I want to hear about it. You know, in the comments, hopefully there's a spot. This is the first time I've tried one of these Facebook polls while we're on live, so I hope it came through okay. But throw it out there in the comments. I'd like to read your thoughts on it. If you think I'm crazy, that's fine. If you think I'm right on, that's fine too. But I want to hear my audience talk to me about NASCAR playoffs. Is it a legitimate way to crown a champion? I say no, but I want to hear your thoughts. And also, if you can give me a reason why, I want to hear that. Really, after the show, I do read everything. I want to hear what you guys have to say. And I'll check back with you if I can. Guys, it's almost time for us to get out of here. In between our shows, keep up on the world of auto racing with SpeedwayReport.com. We've got this broadcast and all of your past shows on the site. We've got some racing articles to read. For our archived podcasts, you can go to Facebook. Start on Racers Reunion. You can go to Speedway Report with Patrick Reynolds. Either page will get you there. Podcasts on Twitter. You can go to the Speedway Report account or at Speedway Pat. You can also still go where we originated, the birthplace of this show, on racersreunion.com, still alive and well. Just go to the forum, and my podcasts are all there. Also, if you're connected to me on LinkedIn and Google+, hit me up, and we've got YouTube channels for the show and myself. So we're all over the internet. Just upload an episode. Big thanks to everyone that did join the Facebook feed tonight with the conversation during the show. I'll get back to you in a little bit. And if you can get a chance before the season closes at your local track, go see a race, because they're the backbone of the entire sport. I want to thank all of the military, past and present, for the freedoms we enjoy as Americans in our daily life, including the simple things like bench racing right here every Monday. Now, freedom is not free, and a veteran paid that bill for us. To all of the men and women who are defending freedom and watching Speedway Report, you take care of yourselves and come home soon. A special salute to the teachers, school staff, firefighters, police officers, and paramedics in their own communities. They are quiet and modest heroes every single day. God bless and thank you. You have been watching Speedway Report from the shores of Lake Norman in Race City, USA, Mooresville, North Carolina. Please like our Facebook page, Speedway Report with Patrick Reynolds, and follow me on Twitter at Speedway Pat. And now on the Drag Racing List Facebook page next is Racing and Rockin' with draglist.com. So if you're on Facebook, go to Drag Racing List. You can join Bill, John, and Barb with some cool music too and some drag racing talk. We will be back live here on Facebook in 1 week, Monday, October the 29th. We will look at NASCAR Cup in Martinsville, NHRA in Las Vegas, Formula One from Mexico, short tracks, and a whole lot more. Thanks for joining us. I will see y'all next time.